Ball. Georgia!
Oh, damn it. I forgot to unzip my fly. Oh, it's getting in my shoe. Oh! Egotastic FunTime. Hey gang, I'm JP and welcome back to Talking The Orville on Egotastic FunTime. Today we're gonna have a great time talking about Bortus' special once-a-year ceremony, Ed and Kelly trying to move past their feelings for each other, Claire finding a connection with an unlikely crewmate, John helping Gordon get some game, and Alara looking for love in all the wrong places, all while a new addition to the crew might be more than meets the eye. In the Orville Season 2 premiere, Jaloja! In Jaloja, we're given a great reintroduction to the crew, starting with Ed, who we find sitting at the bar drowning his emotions in bourbon while admitting to Olix that he wishes there were more distractions to keep him from thinking about the fact that he's still in love with Kelly. Alara shows up as a shoulder to cry on, but they're interrupted by Bortus, who asks if the ship can alter its course and go to Mockless so he can pee. Ed calls a meeting with the senior staff to let them know that they're diverting their course for Bortus' Jaloja and to not make any jokes about it in front of him, which is easier said than done.
If you need any time off to make preparations, feel free to relieve yourself.
Nah, it's okay, man. He's just taking the piss out of you.
Kelly comes to speak to Ed about the relationship, and Ed wrongly assumes that she was going to suggest that they get back together. But instead, she tells him she started dating someone, which Ed doesn't take very well. Later, the ship's new dark matter cartographer, Lieutenant Janelle Tyler, reports for duty. She's excited to have been assigned to the Orville and briefly meets Captain Mercer while on her way to the bridge, where she meets Gordon, and it doesn't take long to find out that successfully chatting up the ladies is not quite in Gordon's wheelhouse. That might explain why he's so good at hugging the donkey.
Yeah. If these fingers could talk.
Meanwhile, it would seem that Isaac has become much more involved with the Finn family since last season, and he's even giving Ty piano lessons. Marcus comes home with his new friend James, who right away doesn't make a good first impression on Claire.
Do I know your parents?
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they want you home for dinner too, so I suggest you scoot your own ass on out of here, now.
In the mess hall, Gordon is trying to get all the details about Lieutenant Tyler from Alara so he can ask her out. But Alara says she hasn't been very lucky with love aboard the ship, and he should probably ask John instead. And that's when Gordon gets a crash course in the art of wooing women from the ship's resident girl guru with an extra dose of boom to really make the lady swoon.
And that's where you want to start. You want to walk in with boom. Boom. Yeah, not like that, but yeah.
Right.
In the armory, Bortus puts his Yenta powers to work, letting Alara know he'd like to fix her up with another member of the crew so she can bring a date to his Jaloja party. Alara, more intrigued that Bortus of all people is trying to set her up, agrees to meet the lucky guy, but almost backs out when she discovers that Dan is the lucky bachelor that Bortus is trying to set her up with. Dan is able to get her to reconsider, and they both go out for drinks.
Love is the fish hook that hooks the fish. What do you think?
It's really good.
Ed, still trying to deal with his feelings for Kelly, takes a shuttle out for a drive and accidentally learns more about Kelly's new beau than he planned on. Kelly and Cassius decide to head to the simulator to get some privacy, but end up finding Marcus and James there drinking vodka James got by hacking a synthesizer. Claire, overwhelmed with Marcus's defiant behavior, is approached by James's parents, who believe that Marcus is the bad influence and not their son, and invite her to a teacher-parent meeting to discuss the matter. To Claire's relief, Isaac tags along and uses his superior robot intellect to actually prove that James is the culprit. Claire, very grateful for Isaac's help, asks him to be her date to Bortus' pissing party. The crew finally arrives at Mockless to be witness to the great release at Bortus' Jaloja.
Jaloja!
During the celebration in the mess hall that followed, Ed finds himself right where he started, alone at the bar, drinking away his troubles, telling Olix that he could really use a krill invasion right about now to take his mind off things. But be careful what you ask for, Ed. That type of distraction could be a lot closer than you think.
Hey. Is anyone sitting here?
No. They're not my enemies.
After what they saw you do today, they will be.
We waited an entire year to finally get caught back up with the crew of the Orville, and that's exactly what the premiere gave us, a reintroduction to the characters that we fell in love with last year, and what life aboard a mid-sized cruiser in the Planetary Union is like. There were actually a lot of mixed reviews from fans of the show, which is understandable, and that's why I only give Geloja 22 thumbs up, because it was exactly what I wanted in the premiere, to get reacquainted with the crew and set up various plot points that will carry us over the next few episodes and expand our knowledge of what it's like living on a spaceship and give us a peek at parts of the Orville that we never knew existed. Last season, the ship was more like a workplace environment. The crew was out in space, going on missions of discovery and diplomacy, and it was all really great. They were doing their jobs, and we didn't really get a sense of how many people are actually on board. But now we can see that this isn't just a flying office building. It's a community, a small population of people. There are families aboard, a school for the children. There's even a nightlife with a bartender that listens to people's problems. There's a fine dining restaurant. Alara even mentioned going to the restroom on a starship? Now I've seen everything. There's actually so much to talk about with the premiere that I don't think I can fit it all in this one episode. So I'll do my best to keep it brief, and we'll go deeper into certain topics in later episodes. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that happened in Geloja I probably won't be talking about right now. So if I miss something that you wanted to hear me talk about, ask me during the live show, or just hold on tight. I do this show all year long, like every week, so I'll eventually get to it. So just chill the out. God! When reviewing this episode, I think it's only right to begin with the Geloja itself. The first thing we learned about Mocklins in the season 1 pilot is that they only urinate once a year. And I loved how at the top of this episode, Bortus comes up to Ed and tells him that they need to go to Mocklins because he really has to pee. It's a completely ridiculous thing, but they treat it like a serious matter before they fade out to the theme song. Going back to Mocklins for the Geloja is reminiscent of that time the Enterprise had to take Spock back to Vulcan for his Pon farr, but of course, this is much less disgusting. Nobody's trying to see Spock get with chicks.
You let me violate you.
In reading the comments about the premiere, some fans of the show were like, "Oh, come on. I waited all this time for the show to come back and the episode has to do with bodily functions? Ugh." Completely forgetting that the entire premise of the show began because Derulio busted the blue light special all over Kelly's face. But some fans were a little disappointed for more legit reasons. They've been waiting all year for the show and their hopes were really high, and the episode ended up being a catch-up with the characters and setting up the story as opposed to blowing up asteroids and doing cool, exciting space stuff, which is completely fair if that's what you were hoping for. But of course, these are Orville fans, so even if they didn't get that itch scratched, everyone is confident that that aspect of the show is just around the corner because Orville fans are the best fans, and all other fandoms can go play with lightsabers in the basement.
Hey, not cool, JP, you stupid bastard. I heard that.
Oh, and do you ever play with lightsabers in the basement, Angry Nerd Troll?
Yeah, but not every day.
And I rest my case. I like how important the Geloja was and how much gravitas it was given in the episode, but I was a bit confused with the actual scene when Bortus finally did go. There was nothing there to see. Shaka when the pee fell, his fly open wide. But wow, what a beautiful urination ceremony, you guys.
What if it's like a windy day?
This episode is supposed to take place just a few months after the events of Mad Idolatry, so the heartbreak that Ed feels with losing Kelly is still pretty fresh. He's having a hard time with it and is taken to drinking away his emotions every night at the bar, listening to the song As Time Goes By from Casablanca, a movie about heartbreak and two people who can't be together. Kelly reveals that she started dating someone and Ed doesn't do well with the news.
Oh my God, I am an idiot.
No, you're not.
Complete
And you are
and
not an
total
idiot. Listen
jackass.
to me.
Who is it? Who you see?
It's not important.
But we finally learned that the Cassius character, played by Chris Johnson, is Kelly's new boyfriend. Another prediction that I made that came true. Cassius is a teacher aboard the Orville. He's dreamy, thoughtful, smart, and he's dating Kelly, so I hate him! Ed lets Kelly know that he still loves her and that he wants to be with her, but Kelly says it's out of the question because them being together would keep him from being objective when making life and death decisions as captain. And to be fair, she's completely right, but here's the thing, you guys. While I agree that captains and first officers shouldn't date, I think it's already too late for Ed to be objective whether they're in a relationship or not. He loves her. He's in love with her. If he had to make the choice between sending her on a dangerous mission or Bortus, he would send Bortus because he loves her. Even with Cassius in the picture, Kelly loves Ed and would rather be with him, but she believes it's impossible, so she's doing her best to move on. If she were transferred, her and Ed could actually get back together. I mean, his judgment is already going to be swayed by his feelings for her either way. Doesn't matter if they're dating or not. The only solution is getting a new first officer. But don't! This entire episode is about love and relationships. It's like an anti-Derulio episode. It's definitely a lot less sticky. Ed, Kelly, and Cassius have this weird love triangle thing going on. Gordon has a crush on Lieutenant Tyler. Alara goes out on a date with Dan. Claire and Isaac seem to be getting closer and closer, and John's just letting his freak flag fly.
You ever met a Caribix?
No.
It's an alien with two heads. I dated one for about 2 months last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd still be going on, but the left head always wanted to go hiking, and that's just sort of a deal breaker for me.
And I love the whole Gordon and John thing going on in the simulator. The jacket, John's dating program, the slaying girl Gordon wins over by telling her he's dying to meet her.
You're dying.
So totally dying, it's ridiculous. Nobody's dying more than me.
As we all know this season, Alara is supposed to be leaving us soon and getting replaced by Jessica Zor, who plays a new character called Tala. So the entire episode I kept looking for signs of Alara's departure, and at first glance I got nothing. But then I watched Jaloja again, and the signs are as plain as day. Starting with the opening scene with Ed and Olix at the bar. Olix being played by Jason Alexander. Another prediction I made many months ago that came true. Yay! When Alara sat down to talk with Ed, I assumed she wanted to tell him something, like, oh God, I don't think I can work here anymore, something like that. I want to go home. But really, she was just there to be a good friend and lend an ear if he needed it, because she understands what he's going through. She then mentions that she hasn't been lucky in love, and you can tell she's really down on herself about it. Ed then mentions her job and career aboard the ship, that they're both good at their jobs, but don't feel worthy of being there. It's like he's planting the seeds for the character's departure, so we're ready for it when it happens. Then later on, when talking to Gordon in the mess hall, she mentions again her bad luck with relationships aboard the ship. When Dan asks her out, she laments about the possibility of being single for the rest of her life. None of these were throwaway lines. They all had weight and meant something to her. It's more and more obvious that Alara is feeling alone on the Orville, and she knows better than anyone that love is the fish hook that hooks the fish. Alara isn't happy, and it's obvious she's searching for something. We'll be coming back to this topic after the episode Home airs on January 17th. Love you, Alara. Bye-bye.
Boy, got a little chilly in here all of a sudden, didn't it?
In this episode, we even got more insight into Claire and Isaac's relationship. Claire's an interesting character because she's a brilliant doctor who, quite frankly, is overqualified to be serving aboard the Orville, but she's really unsure of herself when it comes to being a parent. She's a single mother by choice, and the Finn boys don't have a father, and that's how she planned it. She's a strong, confident woman who wanted children, but values her independence. She's always questioning her own parenting skills and feels like a failure, which is something I'm sure even the best parents feel like sometimes.
I'm starting to think that I suck at this parenting thing.
I must agree with that assessment.
Isaac has come into the picture and provided her with not only blunt criticism, which she seems to really appreciate, but he actually has Claire's back and helps with the kids. It seems almost as though Claire is starting to fall in love with Isaac, but don't be fooled. This isn't like that time Mr. Data got a crazy girlfriend. Claire is a brilliant woman who knows exactly what she's doing. She knows that the typical relationship that most people have isn't right for her. That's why she started a family without a partner. She seems to completely understand that Isaac is a machine who is incapable of feeling human emotions. I think that's what she likes about him. I don't believe Claire has fallen in love with Isaac as much as I think she's fallen in love with the idea of Isaac being the type of partner that she's been looking for and didn't think she'd ever find, which in turn has made her fall in love with him. It's a conundrum. Anyway, Isaac is her champion, and it's a non-traditional type of relationship for sure. But she's not delusional about what a relationship with an emotionless robot would be. She knows what she's doing. I mean, what woman wouldn't want to date a walking vibrator who can also pick up the kids from soccer practice? Back to Ed and Kelly. Of course, Ed is having a hard time with the breakup. It's understandable. But I love that he went and talked to Cassius in person to apologize to him. It was a total classy move and endears him to the audience even more betterer. When Cassius told him about the fight that he and Kelly had, Ed gave him advice and had this great line about his theory that a woman can't really love a man unless he's part dope.
Be a little stupid every day and really stupid once in a while, but just don't be perfect.
Sure, it's an over-romanticized type of line, like from an old movie from the 40s, but I kind of agree with him. That's been my experience with women as well. When you act really dopey, like flirting with a woman by giving her your ATM pin after just meeting her at a bar, which we all know is really stupid, they're more likely to go out with you. It works like every single time. And you can see that Cassius takes the advice that Ed gave him at the end of the episode.
Hope you washed your hands.
Well, I can't wait for the next one. You, sir, are forgiven.
Boom! Act a little stupid and you get forgiven. And only like 5 or 6 times does your identity ever get stolen. And finally, let's talk about the new dark matter cartographer who is now part of the crew, Lieutenant Janelle Tyler. She's obviously brilliant to be cartographicalizing dark matters. Gordon instantly took a shining to her.
Can't do it. Thanks for the help.
Tyler is played by Michaela McManus and is a nice addition to the cast, even though she's evil and trying to destroy the planetary union from within, starting with taking revenge on Chris and Devin, who killed her brother and fellow crewmates last season. We never did find out what happened to Talia after the events from the Krill episode, but we were definitely left with this feeling that we hadn't seen the last of her. While Tyler seemed pretty normal at first glance, I mean, she sips her tea with only one hand. I mean, that's a pretty classic, normal human way to be. I found it very strange that when she first met the captain, that she asked him where they were heading. I mean, she could ask anybody else that. Why would you ask the captain that the first time you meet him? She then wanted to get familiar with the navigation panel on the bridge, like right away. No hi, how you doing, how's it going? She just left Gordon hanging there the whole time. I mean, come on, the man plays guitar and you give him nothing?
If I'm not playing my guitar, this is where I want to be. Right here.
Then at the end of the episode, right when Ed says he could really use a Krill invasion, she shows up. Don't forget that the Krill took Gordon's holographic emitter when they captured him last season. It's possible Talia was able to get a hold of that technology and use it to infiltrate the Union. Lieutenant Tyler being a Krill in disguise is another thing I predicted just a couple days ago, but I really had no idea. I just thought it would be a cool thing they might do this season because the same actor is playing both roles, but after having watched this episode, I'm now 99.9% sure that Janelle Tyler is Talia from the Krill episode. I mean, come on. She's even wearing green. How much more obvious could it be? We waited an entire year for season 2 of The Orville to finally make its way back to television, and I can't express to you enough how happy I was with Geloja. Strategically, it was brilliant to have the first episode set up as a reintroduction to what makes the show so great. The characters. I mean, I already feel like no time has passed between the 2 seasons and that we're picking up right where we left off. I'm grateful that they gave us a chance to breathe and reacquaint ourselves with the crew and get comfortable back aboard the ship before the next episode, Primal Urges, because that episode is sure to be an action-packed roller coaster of sci-fi adventure and explosions. It's a ride I'm really looking forward to being on and excited about. When it comes to the Orville, you guys, consider me strapped in and ready to go. Oh, but I need to stop off at my house first because I forgot to put on deodorant. And I need to get my jacket. Oh, I also forgot to put on underwear. And I need to poop. But we could stop off anywhere for that. Geloja! Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about it. How about you? Do you think Alara feels she's missing something in her life and is ready to move on in search of love? Does Claire want to give Isaac the robot some of her roe booty? Will Ed and Kelly finally reignite their passion for each other and celebrate by throwing Cassius out of the airlock together? Will Dan and Gordon ever find the sweetness they both deserve? If you're not convinced that Lieutenant Tyler is a Krill spy, keep watching my show because
You will be.
you can let me know what you thought about Geloja by joining the conversation below. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and supporting my stupid show. All of you have been so wonderful, and it really does mean the world to me. I'll see you very soon, and as always, I hope all your times are egotastic fun times. Did you guys notice Yaphet working down in engineering? Love you, bye-bye!
Egotastic fun time, we're gonna have a great time. Egotastic fun time, give me all your money. Give him all your money. You will find it funny. Just give me money. I love money. Give me all your 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 money.